Steve was just a big kid. He didn't have much of a childhood. So when he did become famous, and when he did have it all, he wanted to live it to the fullest. And when I say live it to everything to the fullest, I mean everything. You can just imagine every woman wanted to be with him, and men wanted to be like him. He had it all, and this put a big strain on the marriage. Mm-hmm. And because exactly. That rock star lifestyle that doesn't go very well in a relationship.
Right.
And Neil only tolerated it for so long before confronting.
Well, yeah, and he put her on a pedestal, and
yeah,
there was a lot of cheating going on with him, especially, and then she did it once, and I think she said he put me on a high pedestal, and then I fell with a thud or something like that, which was cool.
Yeah,
I like that she said that.
He loved her and he loved his kids, but he loved living his life to the fullest because he didn't have much growing up, so he wanted to take advantage before it was,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had a house in the desert that they bought together, and I think in the middle of the night he'd be like, "Let's go ride my motorcycle." And she's like, "Okay, whatever." She'd just go and do it. Down for whatever. He's like, "Let's go shoot some guns." And she's like,
yeah.
"Okay."
Just a big kid.
Yeah, he was. But they both were, and I think it was good for her too, as much as it was for him. And that was his first love, I think, and obviously
he was the love of his life. He was married 3 times, but she was the love of his life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Boy, makes me want to reach out to those two. And if they were still around today, and if they came up to you, what would you say?
Oh,
well, I'd just be excited to shake their hands.
I'd probably hug her. I'd probably hug her whether she likes it or not. Instead, I'd look at her and say thank you for being so damn awesome. Just as a woman in general, she's very inspirational. She is very inspiring.
Yeah.
Woman, just in general, and such a good mother as well. And she's still alive though.
Yeah.
She's in her late 80s. I think she's such a little badass.
86, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? She's still doing it, you know what I'm saying? She's still kicking up.
That is something, too. And also notable as well, too, that you guys were nominated with an award. It was a feature film, Grand Jury Award, honorable mention. And that was part of the feature film with Joe Eddy, Richter Ryan, and Toe Pictures. And it sounds like you guys just happened to be nominated for an award that's unexpectedly. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was really a cool moment at Dances with Films, the festival, which is an awesome festival, which I think Coyote, their other film, also won Best Feature. I mean, Joe has such a special eye for films. He really does. And he makes these beautiful stories and scripts. And I always cry when I read them. They're always so heartbreaking.
The scenes that Augie and I did together during this rough patch in their marriage, Joe created this environment that made it easy for us to work in. He made it comfortable in a very uncomfortable situation, uncomfortable circumstances, and it was tough stuff to experience. But it makes you respect Neil and Steve a lot more because we just acted it out, and they lived it.
Yeah, and we didn't have much time, so we just had to trust one another. We're like, okay, let's get ready to do this really intense scene.
Yeah.
2 days. That's amazing. Shoot, 2 days.
2 days, Mike. Literally 2. I mean, I'm not going to give the movie away, but there is a beautiful scene between them. Don't get me wrong, where she gives him a twist of her necklace, which he wore in a lot of movies, right? Andre, Stephen King wore that necklace a lot. So there is some nice scenes, but then there is a very intense scene.
Yeah. Like any relationship, when one of them becomes a big rock star, movie star for the first time, he wants to take advantage. And Neil had to, ring him in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She sure did.
Yeah, that... Well, that sounds like it, too. And, of course, we'll talk a little bit more about the movie, and we'll get to guys how you got there. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking a budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Evan Fine of the Senior Reserve Group. When you start a business or own a business for a while, who are you going to call for sole proprietorship insurance? Why not call the expert, Evan Fine of Senior Reserve Group, for all your insurance needs for health care as well. Evan can be reached at 1-800-650-9357. That's 1-800-650-9357. Or email to evanfine@seniorreservegroup.com. Licensed in 7 states in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Delaware, South Carolina, and Florida. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can also check our Facebook page, Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can also download and listen to our episodes on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, and watch the interview on YouTube as well. We're here with the stars of Chasing Bullitt, Andre Brooks and Augie Duke, whose DVD, which will be coming out today, which is March 5th, and this was released in the movies last year. It's a very big event. They've also told you on where you can find it. We'll get to that in just a minute. And let's talk to Andre as well, too. You've been in Sons of Anarchy, and you've also been in Wonder Woman and Ray Donovan, and quite a few movies yourself. And tell us about some of your work.
Yeah, I've played. Let me see, Ray Donovan. I played a cop a lot. I seem to get cast as a cop, good or bad. Which is actually playing the bad cop is more fun. But playing Steve McQueen was the best. Definitely playing
the ultimate cop.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
I'd say the ultimate cop. I have to say that.
Yeah, the ultimate cop. Yeah, like Frank Bullitt in Bullitt. Now this movie isn't a sequel to Bullitt per se. Bullitt took place in 1968, the movie Bullitt, and this movie isn't. It takes place in 71 after the movie Le Mans that he filmed over in France.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just takes place over the course of a day. Dealing with things that are going on in Steve's life, good things and some not so good things, and his problems in his first marriage to Neil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounds like it too. And of course, you've also been in other films as well too. And of course, you were born in Kenya, raised in Ottawa, and you worked in L.A. You also worked with Mark Rydell, Eric Morris, and Martin Landau. And first of all, just tell us how you got started in the show business.
So cool.
We'll start with Andre, and then we'll start with then Augie will be next as well too. So Andre, you can just tell us how you got started in the business.
How I got started? Well, I moved out to L.A. I think it was the fall of '99. I finished with boxing. I was a competitive boxer for many years. Won 4 Golden Glove titles. Won a silver at the Olympic trials. Got 8 broken noses along the way too. But I did all right as a boxer. But my mom and dad. Well, my dad, he supported it. They both supported it, but my mom hated it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you've done enough of that. Why don't you hang them up while you still got your brains intact? And she was right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came to LA and I played a boxer actually in a few commercials and a movie or two. But the acting was a lot more fun. You got to perform in front of an audience, but you didn't get the bumps and bruises, and it didn't take as much of a toll on your brain.
Uh-huh.
Which Mom was happy about.
Oh, that's good. What were some of the movies you were in when it came to boxing?
Well, these are little independent movies that nobody will ever see. But, you know, you got to start somewhere when you get here. The first thing you have to do is to get some footage. You know, you're anybody applying for a job, you have to have a resume. Well, a resume for an actor would be the footage that you can show them. And it better be at least 2 or 3 good minutes of clips,
Mm-hmm.
showing what you can do in front of a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a lot of I bounced around and did a few different bits and pieces, and since I had this boxing background and boxing being so popular in the movies, they decided to. It's funny actually. Joe Eddie, our director, wanted to do a boxing movie originally.
Oh, he should.
Interesting.
No,
yes.
well, he called me up and he said, "Let's get together for lunch and let's." I got this movie idea. We got together, and he had this boxing movie idea with me playing the boxer, and I at this point was over boxing. And it's a lot of work to get into top shape, and I like to do things 100%. And if I'm going to get in the ring and sit there and exchange punches with other people, it's not going to be fun. But boxing is a young man's sport, and you can't play boxing. It's something serious. So I kind of was against the idea, and Joe said, "All right, well, I'll come up with something else." And it was a couple of weeks later that he called me back up and he said, "I got another idea. Let's get together again." We got together again, and like I mentioned before, he looked me in the eye when we sat down for lunch, and he gave me 2 words: Steve McQueen. And that's when it all started right there. And boy, I got excited.
That's a very nice way of bridging boxing and movies together as well, too. And, of course, you've been a 2-time Olympic contender in '96 and 2000. You took the silver, 4-time Gold Glove. And what are some of your most memorable fights you've been in, and what was your most memorable moment?
So cool.
Oh, probably my most memorable moment was fighting against the Cuban national team. Not the whole team, but it was my team. I was representing Canada, and it was Canada versus Cuba, and I was pretty nervous because these guys are the best of the best. If you watch the Olympics, amateur boxing, the Cubans tend to win half, or even 2/3 of the gold medals tend to go to the Cubans, and they were giving us all a boxing lesson that night. Every fight, one after another, was very one-sided. And I sat there in the dressing room, and I was getting warmed up, and I looked over to my one of my teammates who just had his butt kicked, and his face was all raw and rashed from getting hit so much.
Oh my!
And I just kind of gave him an acknowledgement of respect, and he gave me a smile, and I said, these guys are tough, and he goes, "Tell me about it." And I said, "Well, you watch though. If I catch him with my left hook." And he looked at me and he just smiled because he knew that I had a good left hook. I'm left-handed, but I box right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
We're both lucky.
So yeah, so I've always had a really good left hook. And anyway, about a half hour later, I was in the ring with this guy, and 18 seconds. This fight's on YouTube. 18 seconds into the fight, I caught him with the left hook, and down he went. And the referee stepped in. It was a Cuban referee, so I thought he'd let the fight go. But the kid got back up, and he was all wobbly like he was on Queer Street, and he started to stagger over into the corner and up against the ropes, and the referee took one look at him and waved it off. Technical knockout.
Oh my!
It was 18 or 19 seconds of the first round, so that would be my biggest moment.
Oh my gosh! I bet you
my 50th fight too.
I bet you the kid was like, "No mas, no mas."
Yeah, yeah. Well, he was not happy anyway. And considering the rest of his team dominated, he was probably the one that was on the plane flying home, feeling pretty bad that that he got whacked. But I felt pretty good. That was definitely one of my big moments.
Was he okay after? Did you go up to him and say, "Are you okay? I'm sorry"?
Well, I didn't speak Spanish, and he didn't speak English, but I went over and hugged him, and that was the end of it.
Mutual respect. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, amateur boxing is not like the pros. There's a lot more sportsmanship involved, and nobody wants to get hurt, and and the referee is very careful. So when he saw that this guy was pretty rattled, they might have let the fight go on in the pro ranks, but not as an amateur. He was barely standing up. His legs were all rubbery, and there was still about a minute to go. Well, there was over 2 minutes to go in the round, and I was ready to go because